This is the master node. If you see, let me clear the screen and we will get started. So the first command is the basic one, that is to check the nodes. It gives you the nodes. Now we will see if we could use a shortcut for this kubectl whole command. We will use alias, and this would be like this. We will be putting an alias. So if we see here k, then get nodes. So it serves the same purpose. Now we want that it should also use a feature of autocomplete. So that if we type get, it should automatically populate it, but it is not happening when we are pressing a tab. Now what should we do? So there are a series of commands that you need to run, and first we will just see whether we have this directory present, because I had installed the package some time back. So we have a package over there. So we will be setting up a source for our bash file with this command, and then we will setting up a autocomplete feature using complete command. The complete -f is a switch, and then we will be using start kubectl then k, which we provided as an alias. Now if I say k then get, it will, after pressing tab, it automatically uh, uh, put up get on the screen, and then we will see I will type node and nodes, right? And then it gave the same thing. So that's very useful command. Instead of typing the whole command, you could choose the autocomplete feature and an alias to create. Now there are a few other commands that we're gonna run. Is the cluster information, which provides the cluster information for the Kubernetes. So k cluster info, it automatically took up by when I press tab. So it will tell you what is the master node running, what's the IP of this, and the port, right, and the kubedns. Now how would we see that? Now we ran the command nodes -0 wide. This is also a command which give you a detailed information. So if you see in here, this is an IP, internal IP of the master node, and this that is gave the information about it. Now that's, and the other IPs of the other nodes. Now let's see in details about which pods are present on this particular cluster. So by default, if you are not specifying anything, every pod would be deployed into the default namespace. So what are the namespaces basically? Namespaces are nothing but a logical grouping. In a namespace, you can provide a particular type of deployment. You can specify the namespaces on the basis of your environment, or on the basis of the teams that you are, like production or the development, testing, and that is one way. That depends upon your how you have designed the cluster and how you have set up your cluster in that form. So how to see the namespaces? K, then it's a get. You can type namespace like ns, or I will type the full namespaces. This is the command, it gives you the namespaces. So in the default, if I try to see cube, or I will just type an alias get pods, this is a way. So if it says that no pods are found in the default namespace. So let's get started and try to see another command of checking the pods in all the namespaces. You can use a switch namespaces, and it gives you this namespaces. To go into more detail, just put another switch and it will give you an IPs as well, and on which node the pod is present. So here we could see that we have a Calico solution, a Calico controller, the nodes of the Calicos which have been deployed on the multiple nodes, including master as well. So this was deployed using a calico.yml file, uh, which is a network solution provider. It's a plain node there, a plain cluster. There is no pod on this at this moment. The only purpose of this particular tutorial is to get ourselves familiar with the particular commands which are being used, right? So let's have a look at the other commands. So there are other commands that we're gonna use and see to check the API version and the API resources, and then we will come on to we will check the YAML file samples, the YAML manifest files on the basis of which the pods were deployed. So let's check the API versions. So this you have seen the API versions. So our Kubernetes version is 1.18. Our Kubernetes version is 1.18. If you see in here, that you could see from the version column when you ran this command, that is get nodes 0 wide hyphen o wide. So this particular versions are specified into the YAML file when you are creating a YAML manifest file for a pod, for a service, for a deployment. There you specify, and the v1 is the core, and the apps that you see or authentication.k8s.io are the groups, API groups. So we will see like how we could extract the information on that basis. So these are the resources, and if we specify and we run this command kubectl API resources 0 wide, you can use this, or you could use API hyphen resources hyphen o space wide. So it gave you this particular information like the shortcuts and all, and it also specified what is the kind, like for bindings it comes under v1. The API group is nothing because it's the core v1, version 1, which is the stable version of the API. When you see the beta version that are in testing phases, and the beta one is the one which could be taken out, and so this is how it is there. So for more details you can go to Kubernetes website and check it out. I will share the link at the end of this video for the same. So if you see in here the ones which mentions API group as blank, when you are creating a YAML file, it shows you nothing, but in the YAML file it would be v1. And so, and when you see the namespace true or false, that means whether it is dependent upon the namespace. You have to specify the namespace or not. For example, where it says namespaces, it says false because it's universal. You get the namespaces, it's not dependent on the namespace, but the pods, they are dependent on the namespace. You have to specify a namespace if you get to